everyone, and welcome to the second edition of Bullseye. Today I have with me Mr. Rishabh Mishra and Mr. Rohit Solanki of batch MBA 06, national level winners of MI Summit 2.0. Congratulations, guys, and welcome to the session. As we all know, corporate competitions are a vital part of the overall MBA experience, and your approach towards the same should be clear and strategic. So could you guys tell us something about the approach, how to approach these cases, or what was your approach towards choosing your use case and how did you finalize it?
Okay, so thank you, Akriti. So yes, that's one of the biggest questions, whenever you approach a particular case, how you have to go about it. So it is very, very dynamic, and it keeps changing based upon the different cases that you come across. So every case has a different requirement. So we do not have any specific approach. So once the case comes, we go through the case, and that's when we build up our approach. So firstly, you need to be very clear about what the case is asking. Like there might be certain hidden points that they read between the lines what the case wants. Then we see what the company is currently doing, how it is performing in market, or whatever the case is related to the case, how the company is, what is the requirement or the need for the company to ask that case. So there also, if you can get some points, what company is looking for. So there you can get an edge around there. Also, the current environment is there. Suppose you are asking for a new product or a new kind of a service. So what is there? In COVID, we saw that things became everything went online. So what is the scenario current? So you can also relate your problem to that as well and come up with different kind of solutions based upon that. So for our case study, if you talk about the MI Summit, so how we chose the particular use case was what is the current standing of Xiaomi in the market for different particular categories. So based upon that category, where it is lying, how it is going to move ahead, we chose that category. And then while designing the product, we thought what is empathetic to the audience. Considering their empathy, they should relate to it. It should be an emotional point of view as well. Then we see the feasibility. Is it enough feasible for the company to, you cannot propose a company something very, out of the blue or super futuristic. It has to be feasible there. And the practicality, is it enough in the reasonable time? So these are the few points that we considered while we keep a case.
Right.
Hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Rohit. As we all know, market research is a very crucial step towards approaching these cases, right? And people generally don't really know how to go about the market research. They hear the word and they're just like, let's do all of it, right? So what was your approach towards it? How did you guys go about the market research part?
Right, like you pointed it very right. Market research is a huge term. Like there are many elements that can be looked upon while you are doing market research. There are consumer behavior, there are competitions, market gaps that we have to look into. So when you're selecting a particular research method, you have to be thoughtful about it. Like what is your understanding about what kind of research is required here? Does that particular research help you in adding value to the analysis or not? Because if it does not create value, it will probably confuse you. At the same time, it will also confuse the panelists while you are projecting. So you have to be very thoughtful about it. And as for our product, like we decided that we wanted to know what if our product is sellable or not. Like if it's which we can sell, then we have to understand that what are the features that our consumer or customer will want us from. So and what will be the price of if the product is we can sell a product at 10 rupees and we can sell it about 100 rupees, but we have to understand that what price would be the right price to sell the product, and that's where the competition comes. Like while you are developing your business, you have to do primary research about and you have also have to form questions like that are important to the market research. You cannot form just a regular question that does not make any sense. Right. So for our product, we decided to do BCG metrics to understand how the company is positioned in the product line, and that narrowed our flow, which is very important here.
Okay. So generally these competitions restrict the number of slides or the number of pages that you can have in your PPTs and your case submissions, right? And there's extensive research that's involved in the back end. So how do you optimize that space, and how do you communicate all your efforts in that restricted space in the most efficient manner?
So yeah, that's a very good question. It's one of the most prominent. Even when I started with this was one of the first questions that I asked the coach, the person was telling about how to go about them. But so that case was HUL Lime. So they have a one slide requirement of depicting out all the information. So one slide is too short. So usually cases give 3 to 4 slides at time. So that is pretty much decent to cover up information. And yes, you have to show a lot of information. So one approach that we take is we use flow charts, numbers, more representation of charts which speak more than just the text. Secondly, what you can do is you need to choose the statements that you're writing are very, very crisp. You need to reword them again and again. So, to reduce the size as short as possible and yet convey the message. Apart from that, you don't have to be grammatically correct in terms of writing the sentences. You just need to put the point across. You can speak about them grammatically correctly while you're delivering the presentation. But when you're reading, just key points can also be read through, which can also, give the information, pass it. So you can space there. Also use each bits and every corner of the PPT. Try to bisect your chart into different sections and then represent it your canvas. So the more you can use the corners, that to your advantage. You don't have to unnecessarily have some borders and all that are not required there. So you can get rid of that. And finally the approaches that we follow is the KISS approach. Keep it simple and short. So as it is small, simple, so that's how you should keep it. So I hope this will help you to design your cases in proper and a more efficient manner.
That makes perfect sense. But we know, although an informative PPT is usually the first step towards getting into these competitions, getting ahead in these competitions, the story doesn't really end there, right? It's followed by a proper presentation if your PPT gets selected at all, right? So what, according to you, can make that presentation part stand out? Or what do you think made your presentation stand out for that matter?
Like it is said that if you can that you can do all the hard work necessary for the business idea, but if the idea is not communicated well to the panel, your hard work goes to waste, right? That is the idea. So in the competition like this, the slides would be very content heavy, and each slide has some content that gives you around 200 to 350 kind of words to speak about it. So either you can speak that much and panelist will focus on you, or you can focus on the content written on the slides, right? So what we did, we used animation along with the content. So this is very important. Animation helps the panel to understand what is the flow of the content, like we started from one corner and we are progressing from this corner to right corner. So it helps them to understand that yes, this is a business idea and this is how we are going to proceed about it. It keeps the panel engaged at the same time. Like you have to, and during while you're presenting those things, you have to stress on important things. If you are presenting a market scenario, then if you stress on a number, like this is a market potential here, or this is the key features that we are going to give to our customer, etc., etc. So that can be emphasized upon. And another thing that we did, like I and Rohit practiced 3 or 4 times before every presentation. Like it helps us to deliver important facts and figures to the panel. Like if we are forgetting this important fact, then we can just catch up to that point afterwards. So these were the thought process, and of course use graphs. Like tables does not make any sense if they cannot give any idea about what is shown in the table. So you have to use graphs very well. Tables are boring; they do not prefer seeing tables. They have to understand what these numbers mean. So these are some tips that we can make our PPT very understandable to the panel. This is how we go about it.
So also just to add, so certain case studies, what you have is you have multiple solutions keep coming up as you advance through the different rounds. More additional questions keep coming up. So it's not so what usually people do is like they have to go in the same flow as the questions were initially asked. But at times they might not make sense. Initially they might have asked a holistic view and then more details. So you need to rearrange your content accordingly, making it sense according to what you're trying to depict and not exactly what they might be asking in the, the order of the questions. So you can focus on that as well to improve your delivery during the final presentations.
Right. So I believe that we've already covered a lot in the interview and in the questions that were put up. But are there any final suggestions, any final words that you would like to say for the people watching this video and struggling with attempting such case competitions?
Okay. Well, there is a lot we can go upon, but just few key ones are basically you should have a proper team. if it is a team competition, make sure that you are choosing the right partner. See, it's not the first time you click. You have to do multiple cases to get different kinds of people which you can connect, which you can complement you and fulfill the skills where you're lacking. You're together, or you're as a perfect match for that. So things like that. So you can get along well and you can benefit from that. The next thing is the time devoted. See, case competitions are not done overnight. I get it, you're busy with MBA, there are a lot of things, hectic schedule, etc. But you say that we'll just do this, and then you just speak about it once, and in few hours you make the PPT. See, that's not how it is. You need to devote a lot of time to it. The more time you devote, the better it will become, because you keep on critiquing it, and then you will be reviewing it and reworking it out. So more ideas can keep coming the more time you're spending. So that way, time devoted is very, very important. And finally, you should be aware of what your competition is. See, certain cases are chosen considering how the competition is, what time is it, what time of the year is, what they are doing it. At the end, we all want to win. See, we get a lot of learning, but again, the reward is also important. So just be aware of what your competition is, how they are preparing, what they can think about. So if you have an idea, it can help you about in your case competitions. So that's all. So, yeah.
So thank you very much, Rishabh and Rohit, for participating in this interview. I hope this interview benefits with your inputs, and the people watching it get some direction towards approaching such cases. And congratulations once again, and all the very best for the future competitions that you guys are going to enter as Team Mindbender.
Thank you.
Thank you.